Hello, this is Mike with SIMA Pro, and this is a recorded webinar, AEP Prep, but it's not even July yet. Well, we're going to go over how to prepare for your AEP throughout the year, so when AEP does roll around, you have the most successful and most profitable AEP you can have. So AEP is an all-year event. Now, if you might have noticed this past year that some carriers are using AEP and OEP interchangeably, OEP being open enrollment period and AEP being annual election period. Well, OEP used to be from January 1st to March 31st, but since that's changed, it's kind of a analogy, or it's kind of an acronym that people are now using in lieu of AEP. So both the same thing. They're both October 15th to December 7th, approximately 7 weeks long. And that's not a lot of time for a trial and error with marketing. So you want to make sure that you have a great plan going into AEP, because AEP, again, is an all-year event. December 8th is time to start planning for next year's AEP. Your captive outfits and probably a lot of individual agents are already planning for next year's AEP. Make sure you're not behind them. And you also want to protect your book of business throughout the year, so when AEP does roll around, they remember that they have an agent, and when they get those solicitations and mailers and see those commercials, that they remember, okay, I need to call my agent, not the 800 number or not the solicitation I just got in the mail, because your clients are another agent's prospects. So you need to protect your book of business all year. And think about what those phone calls and what that costs. If you start losing renewals on your Medicare Advantage plans at roughly $200 a pop, you lose 5 of them, that's $1,000 that you're losing in renewals. So make sure you're making those phone calls, making those letters, doing whatever you can to touch your book of business, because each one of those can cost you $200 or more if they leave, depending on what plans they have with you. So to start building your AEP machine, first thing you can do is a call list, or several call lists, as I would recommend. The first call list you want is all your prospects. Anyone you haven't sold during the year, you want to get permission to call them during AEP, just to do an annual review with them. Even though you're not their current agent, you want to extend that offer, because now you have the opportunity to become the current agent if their agent, or if they even have an agent, is doing that for them. So first list would be prospects. Second list you want to have are all your Medicare Advantage plans broken down. So if you are selling 3 or 4, or maybe just 2 Medicare Advantage plans primarily, you want to separate those people in 2 different lists. And what this is going to do for you is, if there's one plan that's now subpar, you could pull all your clients off that list and say, okay, these are all the people I need to call and do reviews with. And for the people you want to stay, these are all the people I need to stay or send a letter to or do something to say, hey, stay where you're at and protect your renewals. And of course, any other marketing list you want to have, if you want to have referrals, who gave you referrals, a call and say thank you and such. So make sure, whatever list you want to have, but those first 3, the prospects, or first 2, prospects and current book of business, should be broken down and easily accessible when the AEP rolls around. The second one are people you want to do reviews with. This is more along your current book of business. People you promise to do reviews with annually, make sure you have them in a separate list as well, so you can easily access them and say, hey, it's time to do a review for next year's business. Referrals, you want to make sure you're building referral source all throughout the year by touching your book of business. It's not just service work you're looking at. It's, hey, remember me when you have questions or your friends have questions, so I'm here to help. So make sure you're building that referral source, that referral funnel throughout the year, so when AEP does roll around, they're out having coffee or out having dinner, they say, well, you know what, we need to call Mike or whoever you are that's going to help them, and you get that phone call. And the last thing you want to do is partnerships. So work with other people who specialize in the Medicare market or senior market. You can work with estate planning attorneys, CPAs, P&C agents, anyone else that has a book of business that has some seniors in it. Work with them. If they're not specializing in Medicare, you could be their Medicare guru for them. If you don't specialize in property and casualty insurance, partner up with some P&C guys out or girls out in the field and say, hey, I'll be willing to pass out your cards, you pass out my cards, and we, start a mutual relationship. So build those partnerships throughout the year, so when their clients come to them and say, hey, I need some help with my insurance, it's, hey, call Mike. So again, throughout the year, you also want to test your marketing campaigns. Make sure you're not doing a mail drop in early October. It takes 4 weeks to get that turned around, and you have a dismal return, and now you've wasted 4 weeks hoping that you get a lot more lead cards in the mail. If that doesn't work, that's half your AEP down the drain. And you also want to build your relationships with carriers and key referral sources, which we talked about. But with the carrier side of it, if you have a local marketing office in your neighborhood or in your area, don't be afraid to go in there and introduce yourself and get to know the people there. Because some of these carrier outfits, they may have extra leads throughout AEP that they may need extra agents to run. So make sure they know you, get to know you, you're placing business with them, you're easy to work with, and you could very well start getting some of these overflow leads should the opportunity arise. And don't be afraid to put that out there. Say, hey, when the AEP rolls around, if you need help with anything, let me know. Put yourself out there, and you may get a few more leads than you anticipated. And then throughout the year, practice cross-selling. Now, I understand that with Medicare Advantage plans and Part D, you're very limited to what you could cross-sell, basically hospital indemnity plans, but 60% of Medigap sales are in the last quarter of the year. So make sure that you're discarding or forgetting about your Medicare or Medigap people, because 60% of them will choose new plans that are going to change during the last quarter of the year. So, and with those folks, you could cross-sell your filing expense, your cancer, your home health, your short-term recovery, whatever the plans you are selling, you could practice throughout the year, so when that time comes, you could go ahead and cross-sell efficiently when they're making all those changes. So on SIMA Pro, we have an 8-page white paper that goes over this and more in a little more detail. We have 2 form letters to use during AEP, one to stay with the current plan and one there may be a better option, and also a blank call sheet template so you could use to make your own call sheets. It's a simple Excel format, nothing fancy. You can modify it and change it to suit your needs, but again, keep it simple because you're more likely to use it the less complex it is. Now, so the 3 things I'm going to tell you to do after this webinar, the first thing is go through your book of business, your current clients, what plans they have, break them up into different groups or sets to make sure that if there's a change in one carrier and you need to move those people, you can move those people. And if the carriers that you don't want to move anyone, again, make those phone calls and say, hey, I'd recommend that you stay where you're at, but do what you want. Be careful with your verbiage per CMS guidelines, but you want to make sure your groups are divided up so you can make the appropriate phone calls. The second one to the left there is review unsold appointments. Who can you call? Can you call them now? Have there been rate increases with them that you know about that you can call them up now and say, hey, you just got a rate increase. I could help you with that. Or make sure you have permission to call them during AEP. And then third, review your marketing campaigns and determine which ones have the greatest return on investment. Are these worth implementing during AEP? Remember that they are getting lots and lots of mail during AEP. You want to make sure that if you're going to do a mail drop, it's going to be very efficient because it's very easy to get lost in all the carrier and all the other insurance agent stuff that they're getting in the mailbox. So maybe it's a call campaign to your current book of business. Maybe it's you're going to do some more SEO with your website, search engine optimization, something. But you want to make sure that you're not wasting campaigns in AEP because it's such a limited time frame. So at this point in the webinar, we had questions. We had a chat area they could type questions in. But if you have questions for us or questions about this, feel free to go on SIMA Pro and you'll underneath the in the group there's a spot you can email SIMA Pro and we will post your question either anonymously or with your name to the entire group so we can all work together and come to a solution. So don't forget to visit us at sima-net.com and submit your questions, and we look forward to helping you out. Thank you.